The story begins with Nora Clark, a quiet and introspective children's book author. During a therapy session with Dr. Barnes, Nora opens up about her childhood, about the trauma she endured, how deeply it scarred her, and how she eventually learned to bury it and move forward. That painful experience became her inspiration. Nora writes children's books to give a voice to frightened kids, helping them understand their fear and showing them that it's possible to face it and survive it as they grow. Her therapist shares a personal story in response. She explains how her daughter was devastated when their family dog died. The child cried uncontrollably, and soon the whole family was in tears with her. But something unexpected happened. After reading Nora's book, the girl was able to process her grief and move on faster than any of them. Hearing this leaves Nora deeply touched. She then reveals her next plan. She's starting a new book, and she intends to write it in her late grandmother's secluded house. The therapist grows concerned. That house, she reminds Nora, holds too much of her childhood, memories she's spent years trying to forget. Nora insists it will only be temporary. She plans to stay there just long enough to finish the book, then sell the house and finally let it go. The therapist hesitates but agrees, telling Nora she looks forward to reading the next story. After the session ends, Nora packs up, gets in her car, and returns to her childhood home, the house she inherited from her grandmother. Once inside the house, she goes down to the old garage, carries a few things inside, and sets up a makeshift desk, placing her laptop on it and attempting to start a new story. But nothing comes. Frustrated, Nora heads upstairs, wandering into her old childhood bedroom. As she looks around, a sudden voice calls out from downstairs. Startled, Nora quickly goes down and she finds a woman standing by the door, asking if there's a room available for rent. Nora tells her she isn't looking for a roommate. Embarrassed, the woman apologizes, explaining that she must have come to the wrong place and didn't mean to disturb her. The woman glances around, clearly impressed by the house, and then introduces herself as Peyton, a photography student. And the two share a brief, casual conversation. During their talk, Nora opens up and explains that she never knew her parents and that her grandmother was the only family she ever had, the woman who raised her from childhood. Now that her grandmother has passed away, the house has been left to her. Peyton offers her condolences for her grandmother's passing and casually mentions that if Nora ever decides she needs a roommate, she'd be happy to move in. She quickly adds that she doesn't smoke and would be no trouble at all. Nora takes her contact information, promising to call if she ever changes her mind. The next morning, Nora steps outside to check something in the garage when she's suddenly approached by Jack, her childhood friend, now a police officer. Nora genuinely happy to see him. Jack also offers his condolences and explains that he heard Nora had returned, which is why he decided to stop by. Nora invites him in for a drink, but Jack is in a rush. He tells her he'll visit again soon before heading off. Moments later, Nora tries once more to work on her new book, but the words still won't come. She can't even come up with a title. Frustrated, she leaves the house to buy some groceries. As she finishes loading the bags into her car, another familiar face appears. Kelly, her high school nemesis, greets her with excitement. Surprised but polite, Nora listens as Kelly explains that she's now a realtor. She mentions that if Nora ever decides to sell her grandmother's house, she'd be happy to help. Nora quickly shuts the idea down. Claiming she's in a hurry, Nora gets into her car and drives straight back to the house. Feeling bored and isolated with no one to talk to, Nora finally decides to call Peyton and offer her the spare room. Not long after, Peyton arrives with her belongings. Nora helps her carry the bags upstairs and shows her the room, explaining that it used to be her childhood bedroom. While exploring the closet, she briefly notices an old popsicle playhouse tucked inside, but quickly loses interest when her eyes land on a familiar book resting on the bed. She picks it up and reads the author's name, Nora Clark. Surprised, Peyton asks if Nora is the writer. Nora confirms it with a modest smile. Excited, Peyton explains that she owns a copy of the book herself and has even given it as a gift to others. Nora shares that she's currently working on a new story. Peyton lights up, telling Nora that her writing has inspired her. Later that afternoon, Nora meets Jack at a small coffee shop. They catch up on each other's lives. Jack talks about how he became a police officer, while Nora explains how she pursued writing and eventually returned to her grandmother's house, unable to find the same peaceful isolation in the city. Jack gently asks if she ever got married. Nora laughs it off and admits she hasn't come close. Jack confesses that he was married once but is now separated, with no children. Their conversation grows warmer and more personal, but it's suddenly interrupted when Nora spots Peyton waving outside. Before leaving, Nora invites Jack over for dinner, as her roommate Peyton is waiting outside. He gladly agrees. When she steps outside, Peyton offers Nora a small gift, and thanks her warmly. Just then, Kelly approaches once again and hands Nora her business card, reminding her to call if she ever decides to sell the house. Nora firmly tells her the house isn't for sale. Kelly responds with a pointed remark that Nora doesn't have to live trapped by her past, and says she expects a call someday before walking away. Peyton asks who she was. Nora dismisses her as an old high school rival and heads inside the car. That night, Nora is haunted by a nightmare. She sees herself as a child sitting in the woods, a man beside her gripping a knife. Popsicle sticks drop to the ground one by one, echoing through the silence, until she jolts awake that morning, breathless and shaken. Later that day, Nora and Peyton go out to buy groceries. After parting ways inside the store, Peyton secretly takes her pills and unexpectedly runs into Kelly. Her tone turns cold and aggressive as she confronts her, warning Kelly to leave Nora alone. Peyton makes it clear that Nora has no intention of selling the house, and threatens her if she continues to interfere. Kelly stands frozen in shock, unable to respond as Peyton walks away. Meanwhile, Nora bumps into an older man named Eddie, her late grandmother's former boyfriend. He approaches her warmly, surprised to learn she has returned to town. Nora explains that her grandmother left her the house. Eddie tries to recall the nickname he once used for Nora when she was a child, but neither of them can remember it. Laughing it off, he tells her he still makes the best chocolate in town and invites her to visit sometime before heading off. As he leaves, Nora feels a flicker of unease, as if a buried memory is trying to surface, but the feeling is interrupted when Peyton rejoins her. Back at the house, Peyton asks what time Jack will arrive for dinner. Nora explains that she and Jack have decided to meet outside instead. With a teasing smile, Peyton asks if Nora is afraid she might steal him. Nora is caught off guard, but Peyton quickly laughs and says she's only joking, adding that she's happy Nora is going out. Later, Nora meets Jack, who suggests they go camping together. Nora immediately declines, admitting she has disliked camping ever since childhood. Jack reassures her that he simply wants them to spend time alone. He imagines surprising her with flowers and a bottle of wine, explaining that he wanted a quiet evening just for the two of them. Touched by the gesture, Nora leans in, and they share a kiss. Elsewhere, Kelly walks alone toward her car, uneasy as the feeling of being followed creeps over her. She glances behind her but sees no one. Her pace quickens. She fumbles with her keys, slips into her car, and locks the doors, her heart racing. The next morning, Nora is sipping coffee when Peyton suddenly rushes to the kitchen sink, frantically washing a wound on her hand. She explains that she accidentally cut herself on a rusty hook in the shed. Concerned, Nora helps clean the injury. At that moment, Jack suddenly arrives outside. Nora tells Peyton to bandage her hand in her room and come out afterward to meet Jack, and Peyton nods. When Jack steps inside, he asks Nora if she knows Kelly. Nora confirms that Kelly has been pressuring her to sell the house and asks why he's asking. He explains that Kelly's husband reported her missing. She never came home the night before. Unaware to them, Peyton quietly listens from her room. A sudden noise draws Jack's attention. Nora explains that it's her roommate, Peyton, and invites him to stay and meet her. But Jack apologizes, saying he needs to speak with Kelly's husband and quickly leaves. Moments later, Peyton emerges from her room and casually asks who is missing. Nora tells her it's Kelly, the realtor. As Nora speaks, her eyes fall on a small popsicle stick house resting on the table. Her mood instantly darkens. Peyton explains that she found it upstairs in Nora's room and brought it down. She apologizes, admitting she accidentally stained it with her blood. Nora tells her it's fine, that she'll take care of it. Sensing the sudden tension in Nora's voice, Peyton quietly steps away. Trying to lift Nora's spirits, Peyton invites her out into the woods for a photo shoot. She sets up her camera and asks Nora to sit in a chair while she takes a few pictures. As she works, Peyton opens up about her past. She tells Nora about a relationship she had in college with a man she once believed was kind. Over time, he revealed himself to be cruel and abusive. One night, after dinner, he suddenly attacked her. Peyton woke up the next day injured, frightened, and alone. When Nora gently asks if she ever told anyone, Peyton shakes her head. She admits that instead of asking for help, she became consumed by dark thoughts, imagining ways he could be gone. Weeks later, the man died in a car accident. Peyton says she was never involved, but the timing left her overwhelmed with guilt, as if her thoughts had somehow caused it. She quickly changes the subject, complimenting Nora's photos. Nora stands and admits she's never liked seeing herself in pictures. Peyton steps closer and tells her she's beautiful. The moment feels uncomfortable. Irritated, Nora pulls away and leaves. The next day, Dr. Barnes calls Nora, worried that she missed her therapy appointment. Nora reassures her that she's fine, explaining that she's been spending time with Jack, her childhood friend, the one she mentioned before, and feels happier being out of the house. She also briefly mentions her new roommate, Peyton, which clearly surprises the doctor. Their conversation is cut short when Peyton arrives, having overheard Nora express second thoughts about her. Nora ends the call with her doctor, promising to check in the following week. Peyton asks what Nora meant by her second thoughts. Nora admits she's confused, but Peyton insists she isn't and walks away. That night, Peyton takes her medication pills and falls asleep. Hours later, Jack drops Nora off at her house, but Nora refuses to let him leave. They go inside her room and spend the night together. The next morning, Jack is already on the phone, focused on Kelly's disappearance. As Nora prepares breakfast, Peyton quietly approaches Jack from behind. She kisses his neck, and Jack only smiles, not even looking back, thinking it's Nora. Nora freezes and forces herself to stay calm. Peyton notices her reaction, smirks teasingly, and retreats to her room. Shortly afterward, Jack apologizes and says he has to rush to the station to follow up on the case. After he leaves, Nora knocks on Peyton's door, wanting to talk. Peyton refuses, saying she isn't in the mood. Later, Nora tries to focus on finishing her new book when there's a knock at the door. It's Eddie. He steps inside, and Nora is surprised, especially when he claims she called him. Nora insists she didn't. Eddie laughs it off, admitting his memory isn't what it used to be. Nora tells him she's busy and asks to talk another time. As Eddie prepares to leave, he casually mentions the word,
"Goodbye, Popsicle."
The sound of it breaks her. Nora collapses into tears as memories flood back. From upstairs, Peyton quietly watches. Peyton comes down to check on her and finds Nora holding an old photograph of herself as a child, Eddie beside her. Through shaking breaths, Nora finally opens up and reveals the truth she's buried for years. She remembers Eddie taking her into the woods as a child, sitting beside him while he built a small popsicle stick house. She remembers the scariest stories he told, how he hated his own daughter Veronica and claimed he had drowned her in the lake. Eddie made Nora wear his daughter's sweater and stared at her for what felt like an hour. Terrified, Nora ran home and begged her grandmother for help, but she was met with silence, her grandmother distant and unreachable. Nora remembers hiding in her room, locking herself inside the cabinet and praying it would all disappear, until Eddie arrived moments later, slowly opened the door, and handed her the small popsicle house. Overwhelmed, Nora admits she wishes she could forget everything. Peyton says nothing. She simply wraps her arms around Nora, holding her as she cries. Later that night, while Nora sleeps, Peyton quietly works on repairing the small popsicle stick house. The next morning, Peyton greets Nora gently and asks if she's feeling better. Nora says she is. Peyton suggests reporting Eddie to the police for what he did in the past, but Nora firmly refuses. She insists she won't tell anyone, not even Jack. She reminds Peyton of the story she shared in the woods about her abusive ex and how she kept it secret. Peyton admits that staying silent was a mistake and urges Nora not to repeat it. But Nora stands her ground and tells Peyton to back off. Hurt by her words, Peyton leaves her alone. That afternoon, Nora discovers a bottle of medication in the bathroom. Curious, she searches it online just as Dr. Barnes calls again, worried because Nora has missed 3 appointments. Nora apologizes and explains that she's been busy dating Jack and finishing her new book. When Peyton walks in, Nora tells Dr. Barnes that she will call her back, but before she hung up, Dr. Barnes offers to visit her in person, but Nora refuses and ends the call. Peyton apologizes for being pushy and says she respects Nora's choices. Nora then confronts her about kissing Jack. Peyton laughs it off and apologizes, claiming it was a joke. She steps closer and quietly reminds Nora that she has always been there for her. Later, Nora heads out to buy supplies and unexpectedly sees Peyton talking with Jack inside a cafe. Disturbed, she rushes home and storms into Peyton's room. There, she finds Kelly's scarf lying on the bed. Even more unsettling, she sees her childhood photo with Eddie taped to the mirror. Peyton arrives and confronts her. When Nora demands to know about the scarf, Peyton casually claims she killed Kelly, then quickly says she's joking. She explains she found the scarf outside Kelly's office after her disappearance and brought it home. Frustrated and shaken, Nora leaves without her phone. Peyton picks it up and calls Dr. Barnes, asking her to come over. On the way to the police station, Nora passes a playground and freezes when she sees Eddie laughing with children. Fear grips her as she wonders if they are his next victim. She drives off, unaware that Peyton is following her. At the station, Nora gives Kelly's scarf to Jack and explains that Peyton saw it in front of Kelly's office on the day Kelly went missing. Jack says they suspect Kelly's husband due to financial trouble, but they lack solid proof. He also mentions collecting fingerprints, including Nora's and Peyton's, as part of routine procedure. Then he gently asks if Nora wants to press charges against Eddie. Shocked that Jack knows about her past, Nora becomes furious. She accuses everyone, Jack, Peyton, and Dr. Barnes, of invading her private life. She tells Jack to stay out of it and storms out. After she leaves, Jack writes down Dr. Barnes's name and begins searching for information. That night, Eddie is watching television when the doorbell rings. He opens the door and smiles at the familiar visitor, inviting them inside. The visitor suddenly touches him. Then a knife pierces his chest, and Eddie collapses, lying dead. The intruder searches the room, opens a cabinet, finds a sweater labeled Veronica, and takes it. Later, Nora returns home and calls for Peyton, but there's no answer. She spots the popsicle house again, and memories rush back. Overcome with anger, she smashes it with an axe. When she hears Peyton approaching, she retreats to her room. Peyton enters, sees the shattered house, and takes a photo. She tells Nora it would make the perfect cover for her new book and reveals that she knows Nora has taken her medication. Behind the door, Nora listens in silence, refusing to respond. The next day, Jack is called to a new crime scene, Eddie's house. Officers report that the victim's hands are missing. Among the evidence, Jack finds pages from Nora's unfinished manuscript. Alarmed, Jack races to Nora's home while trying to reach Dr. Barnes. At the same time, Dr. Barnes arrives at Nora's house, unaware of the danger. She walks inside the house and leaves her phone in the car, unaware of Jack's calls. Meanwhile, Peyton invites Nora into the woods. There, she discovers two severed hands lying on dry grass with a purple sweater. She breaks down, blaming Peyton for the horror. Peyton denies killing anyone and pleads with Nora to calm down. In panic, Nora runs home, followed by Peyton. She finds her phone shattered, grabs a wine bottle, and strikes Peyton. Both women collapse. When Nora wakes, she sees blood on the floor and stumbles upstairs, hiding inside her cabinet, only to find Dr. Barnes lying dead. Peyton appears holding an axe. Nora attacks her in despair, accusing her of murder. Peyton insists she didn't kill Dr. Barnes and urges Nora to face the truth. At that moment, Jack enters, calling Nora's name. Peyton gently calms Nora, hands her the pills, and tells her to trust her. Nora swallows them and drifts into sleep. Peyton calls for Jack. When Jack reaches the room, he finds Nora alone. She asks if Peyton has been caught for killing Eddie. Playing along to calm her, Jack says yes. Nora hugs him in relief. She asks about Kelly, and Jack explains that Kelly is alive. It was all a misunderstanding. Then Jack asks about the other vehicle outside. Nora responds that it belongs to Dr. Barnes and points to the cabinet. Jack opens it and calls for emergency services. Downstairs, Nora looks at herself in the mirror. Peyton appears in the reflection, and in that moment, the truth becomes clear. Her roommate, Peyton, is not real. She is a fractured part of Nora's mind, born from childhood trauma. Nora remembers a school camping trip long ago. Back then, a kind tour guide named Ms. Peyton was the only person who showed her warmth and protection. In her loneliness, Nora created a version of Peyton who would always stay and care for her. But Peyton is more than comfort. She is the other side of Nora, the talkative one, the fearless one, the fighter, and the one willing to kill. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps like this. Thank you for watching.